And I just want to say how amazing this is, and we're so grateful that you shared your story with us. And it's been amazing kind of seeing your progress even over the past, 5 years or so. So we want to open up the floor to any questions. And I'll come around with a microphone so that everyone can hear said questions. But anyone have any questions about Lindsay's recovery or some of the things she mentioned about healthcare workers? Here, maybe what I'll have you do. Sorry, 1 second. There's only 2 right here.
Oh, that's okay. We'll figure it out.
Hi. Is this on? Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Hi, I'm Erica. Just thank you so much for coming and speaking with us, first of all. I'm also very creative, and I would love to hear about what executive functioning strategies you use in your creative pursuits, like writing your novel.
Okay, so, can I turn this down? I do speak loud though.
You have your mic back up.
Oh, just kidding. I forgot. So, for me, it's been interesting. I like thinking about if I was hearing a story, what are the things that I need to learn about the story in order to understand it? So, even with art is interesting because I know you can paint like a picture, a landscape. I don't even do that. I make all abstract art because I like to take my emotions and put them with color. It's the same with words. Any word you pick has a meaning. So what is resonating to you that will resonate to other people? What makes sense? What words make sense to what you're trying to say? I hope that answered the question.
Lindsay, do you find that, when you're planning on writing or when you're doing writing, do you find that you have to use anything to organize your thoughts, or you kind of just?
I actually have, you're gonna laugh at me, I have a whole journal, and I have it layered out okay, if I'm telling you my story, I can't just jump to the end and go backwards. So I have everything broken down. Okay, what was it like after my coma versus when I first started talking?
Okay, so you kind of time it out chronologically. Yeah,
because
that's a good way.
if you don't do it chronological, and somebody else is just reading your story, how is it going to make sense?
Yeah.
There needs to be a timeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Good question. Any other questions in the room for Lindsay about her journey or SLP related?
Lindsay, for your speech, what's the strategy? Is it slow or?
Low,
Slob.
loud. Hold on.
Was it slob?
Yes.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly.
Yeah, slow.
Loud, over articulate, and breathe.
Yeah.
Yay.
Ah,
My name is Simone. Thank you for speaking in our class today. I had a question for those moments where therapy might have been really difficult, or the adjustment and changing locations, and you also persevered through the pandemic. What did you kind of do to support you in those frustrating times, and just so that we can also hear your perspective and how maybe we can support other people?
I'm actually really glad you just asked that. So, this is something my mom said to me right after I woke up from my coma. Okay, now imagine your life drastically changing. Now messed up you probably feel and confused. My mom said something to me that I still use to this day. Take only 10 minutes per day to be mad and upset. Let it go and live. You're alive. You can't focus on yesterday. You need to focus on tomorrow. That's been probably one of the biggest things for me. learning how to let go of the negative.
Was there anything, just to kind of piggyback on that, was there anything that you felt a speech therapist or any of your clinicians did that was particularly helpful, or anything that you were like, that was really not helpful?
I think the only non-helpful stuff was when I still lived in life care, truthfully. I didn't feel like they wanted to actually see me thrive. They kind of were just accepting of where I was. You need to just understand, okay, yes, I'm living it, but do I want you to stay in a wheelchair, not moving, not talking? No, I want to live. Would you ever want to be alive but not being alive? You know what I mean? You need to find your drive. So I think one of the biggest things for me is just allowing the person to have that 10 minutes a day. Let go of the negative. You are alive. You need to breathe. You need to be happy. You need to find your own drive. Even if it's something different. Like, before I got hurt, I was quite the singer. You don't want me to sing now, but music keeps me going. Sure, it's not the same way that it was before, but you just need to readjust your life to what your new surroundings are. That's been huge for me.
Very well said. Any other? Yeah.
Thank you for speaking with us today. My name is Elise. I was wondering if at any point in your journey you tried to use an alternative communication device, like one of the iPads or the tracking, and what your experience with that was like.
At the very, very beginning, I was relying on the iPad. But the hardest part for me with my brain injury is I knew what I wanted to say, but I couldn't find the right word. So, yeah, okay, the iPad was helpful, but it's not helpful when you can't remember what you need to, how you need to say. So I'd say, like if I wanted to say, I'm trying to think slowly. I want food. Okay, maybe I forgot what the word food was. I just have to find some kind of like snacks or something. I need to find a way to describe to you what I wanted to say, which is so weird. Is think of it when you're a baby. You know, I mean, you probably don't remember being a baby, but you know what you want to do, but you don't know how to say what you want to do. That's how it was for me. I just felt stuck for the longest time, so I tried to find maybe some TV or listen to music, something that resonates what I'm trying to say. I know it's a weird thing, but
No.
that's how I did it.
Any other questions?
Dr. Reed.
Well, Lindsay is so inspirational to everyone, that's for sure. But one thing just from being part of Lindsay's life for quite a number of years, for speech pathologists, I think, and you say it so eloquently, Lindsay, but one of the things that I think I just remember was so frustrating, sort of getting to your question, was it was very difficult to understand. Part of it was Lindsay was having trouble with the words, but a lot of your particular issues were the motor control.
Yeah.
And being patient. Healthcare today is just, cram what you can in, and it's so difficult. And I think one of my most inspirational things about Lindsay is Lindsay's been doing this for 9 years.
Yeah, but it'd be 10 next year, you're right.
and the first year obviously wasn't, it was, you know, the first year or two, but don't give up on your patients. And you have to, as providers, like, I feel like our job is to be very keen as to, you know, first of all, figure out what's wrong with the patient. What is it really a cognitive issue? Is it a motor speech issue? Lindsay had lots of different problems, cerebellar, brainstem, cortical, bifacial palsies, vocal paralysis. But kind of dissect that out, but then you have to target each of those things in your therapy. And so, and then you also have to see what's working. So doing sequential assessments and trying different things and not being afraid to try different things. And we tried a lot of different things, didn't we, Linz? But I think that the singing was from the very beginning, the melodic, when you were still in the nursing home, when you were at, you know, Spalding, Cambridge, or whatever it's called now. Like, the music really was very effective at settling Lindsay. And even when she left Life Care and was coming to outpatient, we used a lot of music, even in her other therapies, to get her mind settled and to use that rhythm. But I think in terms of your speech, the ongoing music therapy and singing, she still does music therapy once a week. And that has made such a difference over time, but it's taken a long time. And I think for you to think of her speech intelligibility 5 years ago.
It's changed a lot. And I think that goes to show, Lindsay, your earlier point too about, you know, for providers and clinicians to continue to push you to meet, you know, the goals that you set for yourself is really important, and not to, you know, settle.
I think one of the things for me, sorry to cut
No,
you off,
go ahead.
was just little goals for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, maybe it's not the same goals that you have, but they're big for me. It might be little for you, but it's huge for me.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point, and goes along with a lot of what we've talked about in class in terms of respect and kind of, although we are kind of the experts in treatment, we're not the experts in you, and you are, you know, you have your own goals, and it has to be a shared experience and collaborative. Any other questions from, oh, sorry.
One other thing. I think also for professionals, helping the patient, Lindsay has always wanted to write a book and has been working on that since day one.
Since I was 11?
Well, no, I mean,
No, but you're right.
So your goal has been the book. As her team, and especially the speech pathologists, like, again, figuring out, you know, what Lindsay needs to do to be able to write the book. And a lot of times patients just have their long-term goal. They want their life back. They want to go back to work. They want to, you know, not need therapy anymore. And breaking down as the professional, you know, hearing what they're saying, and then you can't just jump in and start writing the book. You got to break it down into steps, but you also have to make the steps meaningful to the patient, and also make the short-term goals with the patient that are achievable.
And kind of align with their goals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, having for people with cognitive and language issues, the speech pathologist is just so essential in, you know, breaking down, because you know, helping you to refine your goals, to target, you know, being able to give a speech. Well, we got to get you to do your strategies over and over and over. And I think also it can be so discouraging and isolating. And being part of your patient's team, patients with neurologic injuries can have a very isolated, and it's very discouraging. And remember that a lot of the patients, like their speech pathologist is
They're best friends.
there you go, Lynn.
Seriously,
Yeah.
because before I got her, I had so many friends.
Yeah.
Now I have a handful, but the people who I work with, they're my new friends, they're family. It's exactly what I need, the drive to keep going.
So you can, and it makes your life as a professional extremely satisfying, because that's why you go into this work.
Well put.
So
So
it takes a
important.
team. Don't think you have to figure it all out yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm living
No, but
it.
yeah, we're a big team, aren't we, Linz?
Yes, we are, and I love it.
Yeah, we love you too.
Yay.
But reach out to your
Well,
peers.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
collaboration, the team collaboration is
and
so
and
important.
calling
and-
other people and
Yeah.
other professionals, because everyone has different ideas, and especially for the challenging
This might-
patients.
I'm sorry, Dr. Reed.
No.
This might sound crazy, but also ask the patient.
Exactly.
You know how many times people just avoid talking to you? Like, okay, yeah, I have my issues, but I still understand. Try to communicate, ask the patient.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need to, you know, keep hearing the question and keep
Yeah.
saying the answer. That can
Yeah,
be
over and over
frustrating
again.
for everybody.
Yeah.
And just being patient, and I think, yeah,
No, those are all great
being
points and
respectful
aligned.
of
Yeah,
the patients.
Yeah.
is-
absolutely.
And also the patient needs to be respectful of the caregivers too.
Well, but Lindsay,
Well, yeah.
There's
our
the-
job is to be respectful of
Yeah,
you.
but it goes two ways.
No,
But-
it's not,
I think like you bring up a good point that as providers and clinicians, you know, especially students, once you enter into clinical practice and experience, there are going to be times when you don't approach something the correct way and get that feedback from either the patient or a colleague. And I think those learning experiences are really important. Everyone's had them, you know, no one expects you to go out into clinical practice and not make mistakes. Those mistakes are how we learn and not how we are better. So keeping that in mind, that I think, you know, in the years I've been practicing, I am continued to be humbled by my own patients, and I think that's an important thing to keep in mind, that you're gonna have those moments where you wish you approached something differently, or you wish, you know, a patient will say, why didn't you ask me? And you'll say, I'm sorry, I wish I asked you. And you're going to have those times. And it's what you take from them and learn from them that makes you a better clinician. So thank you, Lindsay, for those
and
words,
also
yeah.
that every patient, it's not necessarily being wrong
Yeah.
or correct. It's every patient, and even one patient, one day, you know, you may have your plan of what you're gonna do, and they come in, and you have to, you know, start every day with, you know, how can I help you today? And sometimes you have to change. And it's not necessarily being correct or incorrect. And the way you approach one patient and click in with them might be very different from another patient.
Yeah.
And different providers work differently with different patients.
And different patients have different styles and needs. Everyone is so different, and that variability is what makes the job challenging, but also interesting and rewarding. Yeah, absolutely. Those are all really great points. Yeah. questions back?
Kind of.
Oh,
Just speak
hi.
nice, there we go.
I'm Jasmine. Thank you so much for speaking with us today. I saw that you moved a lot during your care to a lot of different facilities. And I would love to know what were some of the things that made you most comfortable going into a new place or the most uncomfortable going into those new places.
I think I'll start with the uncomfortable. So I think for me, the uncomfortable part is people assuming they know everything. Now, I'm not saying that as a caregiver, you wouldn't know, but they're also not the patient. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, is people aren't respectful that I'm a different person than the last patient you worked with. I'm not exactly the same. Sure, some things might work, but some things don't. And then, that's probably one of the biggest things for me. I'm trying to think if there was a, that was probably the biggest.
What made you comfortable?
Oh, thank you. I know I forgot something. What made me comfortable, honestly, for me, it was doing something that I enjoyed doing before. So whether it's playing music, watching a Bruins game. I know it's simple, but what little things make me happy? And just bring that into the day-to-day. I remember the first time I watched a Bruins game again, I was screaming.
Any other questions from the class? Oh.
Hi. Hi, Lindsay. My name is Sophie. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It's been great to hear about the book that you've been working on, and I'm curious about what you are most excited about in your book, or what part of your book has been most exciting to focus on?
Honestly, sharing to everyone that I'm not giving up, that there is still a person here. Yeah, okay, things have not been fun, trust me, but I'm still a person. I still have wants and needs, I still have dreams. I'm not dead, you know, I'm still here. And I feel like sometimes it's hard because some people act like they're just there. I'm not just here, I still have feelings. That's been one of the biggest parts for me.
Anything else? Well, Lynn, thank you so much. We're so appreciative and inspired, and yeah, every year the presentation just like expands and so wonderfully. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your journey with us.
Thank you very much.